What's shaken? Welcome to a sherry shootout ASMR video where I hopefully will decide on my favourite out of these two sherries. Now these are both Pedro Ximenez, or PX for short, sherries made from a grape that produces incredibly sweet sherry. If you've never had it before, it can be almost like a thin maple syrup in texture almost. It can be incredibly velvety. So the two Pedro Ximenez or PX sherries that I have here to check out this evening are Alvear Solera 1927 and Gonzalez Byass Nectar. This one, the Alvear, is already, I would say, my favourite alcoholic drink. Now, I'm not really a big drinker myself, but every now and then I like having a glass of sherry, and I have a bit of a sweet tooth. So when I discovered this stuff, the Pedro Ximenez sherry, I was pretty taken with it. Now, I don't know how much you know about sherry, the process by which it's made. This, strictly speaking, you might have your eyes closed. If you're closing your eyes, that's fine, don't worry about it. But this Alvear sherry is not actually a sherry. I mean, it is, but it isn't. It's like champagne. If the sherry is not produced within the sherry triangle of Spain, then it can't really be called a sherry. So this doesn't have sherry on the label. However, this one, the Gonzalez Byass, does say sherry. Does that matter? I would say not really. So these sherries are both made using the Solera system. So what is the Solera system? Well, that is a method of making sherry where you transfer sherry down in little sections into barrels which have older sherry in them, and you keep on putting the sherry, moving it down into older and older barrels, and that is the Solera system. So you move it down through criadera, and the lower the number, the closer you're getting to the very oldest stuff. So you may have criadera 6, 5, 4, etc. 1, and then after that are the actual Solera barrels, the oldest stuff. And the Solera barrels from this one, the Alvear, are actually from 1927. So we're talking, at the time of recording, being 2025, there's some of the original 1927 mixed in. So some 98-year-old sherry is mixed in with various vintages. I hope that wasn't too noisy. That wasn't desperately controlled, was it? Oh my goodness, this is a flippin' lovely smelling sherry. If it was too noisy, I'll just go back in and I'll just damp the sound on that bit. It'll all be just a bad dream. Speaking of, I hope you have very good dreams, and I hope you do not make it to the end of this video. That is the plan. This is not a serious review. This is just waffling, trying to get you off to sleep. Alright, so what's cork tapping like? With a tiny cork. I'll tell you what, this stuff does smell good. Alright, let's open up this one as well. So yeah, so the Alvear sherry slash not really sherry, but actually actually really kind of sherry. The Solera's from 1927, so as I say, a bit of 98-year-old stuff mixed in with sherry through the ages. And this one, I don't know how old the Solera is. Now, I do know that this vineyard does have a sherry that is called, I believe it's 1847 Solera. So, how many years old would that be? Let me see here. 1847. That would be 53 years to then, but then we another 125 years, so we're talking 178 years. My goodness. However, as far as I know, this one doesn't have any of that Solera mixed in, and that specific sherry is only a quarter Pedro Ximenez anyway, so probably may well be not quite as sweet. Let's see, what do we got going on here? Do we have a cork? We do not seem to have a cork unless it is attached with yeah, there we go. This is more like a whiskey kind of cork going on here. Let's see. There we go. Very satisfying. Okay, let's compare noses here. So I don't know if I mentioned this is currently my favourite sherry, the Alvear. A very sweet nose, as you'd expect. This one may be the Gonzalez Byass, maybe smells slightly less sweet. Possibly. Okay, we will be drinking this evening, sampling in some old English-made Webb crystal sherry glasses. Because I mean, ideally, you're going to want to drink your sherry in a sherry glass, aren't you, really? Okay, let's pour out the Gonzalez. We will see what kind of consistency we're looking at here. It didn't look hugely viscous. Now I know the other one is definitely very viscous. Let me see if it kind of comes out seeming more viscous. Honestly, no, it didn't. This bottle, the Alvear, I do know whenever you pour it, basically you're going to have a drip. Like, that's unavoidable. Alright, let's go with Old Faithful. We'll see how it tastes. Delicious. It is very velvety. It's very sweet. It's viscous. Perhaps unsurprisingly, it's got a raisiny taste to it. The Pedro Ximenez sherries are produced with white or green grapes, if you will, which are dried in the sun, basically turned into raisins before they are then used to make wine, fortified with a grape spirit, and then put through the Solera system to age them. So, yeah, very raisiny, sweet tasting sherry. Okay, never tried this one. Let's see how it tastes. I am honestly amazed at just how different these two sherries taste. Both very sweet, but incredibly different in terms of the flavours I'm getting. Now, I am, as you may be picking up, not a sommelier, so I am not particularly skilled at picking out actual flavour notes, but let's see if I can do any justice to the flavour here. Yes, and maybe the Alvear has maybe a little more acidity to it. I think in this sherry shoot-off, my favourite sherry going into it, the Alvear, I think its title is safe. So far, the Alvear is still my favourite sherry with its 98-year-old Solera. Which, I mean, that's kind of nice because here, where I am in the States, the Alvear is actually twice the price of the Gonzalez Byass. This is maybe about $35 a bottle. This you can get for about 17. However, in England, I was checking out the prices and they're actually the same price. If anything, this was maybe £1 more expensive. They're both right around £20 at the moment in England, which would be about $27. So this is more expensive here, and in the States, this one, the Gonzalez Byass, is really a screaming deal. But I do feel justified now in spending twice as much on this bottle. Now, as you can probably tell, they are teeny tiny half bottles, 375 millilitres. Let's polish off the Gonzalez, see if I can come up with any more lackluster notes on the flavour here. Ultimately, it is nice, but it's just not quite as pleasant. It's almost flatter in its flavour profile compared with the Alvear. Yeah, the Alvear is the surefire winner. For me, there is absolutely zero doubt in my mind that this is a superior sherry, albeit, as I think I have already fairly boringly established, it is not within the sherry triangle where it is produced. So if you are in England where they are the same price, and this is considerably cheaper than here in the States, that's my solid recommendation, the Alvear. If you're in the States and like me, you really don't drink an awful lot, I feel like your money is well spent on this one. Let's see, how long have I been waffling on here? I mean, not desperately long, but if this is long enough to get you off to sleep, that would be ideal. Hopefully you are off to sleep by this point. I mean, it's a big ask, isn't it? Alright, I'm gonna polish this off. Delicious. Okay. I got nothing more to add really at this point. Should we just do a little cork tap? I did bring in a big bit of cork. I don't know if you can hear the frogs at the moment. It's kind of relief to know that I wasn't spending twice as much on the Alvear when there was really no point. I was expecting them to taste so much more similar than they actually ended up tasting. Like the Alvear is just, that's something special, it really is. But then maybe the Gonzalez will grow on me, who knows. As I say, I'm not a real big drinker, so the nice thing about these sherries, they can supposedly keep for months quite happily after you've opened them, probably especially in the fridge. I keep them in the fridge some sherry